He's probably best known for his appearances on Songs of Praise. That's why we're here tonight to see him. Will you please welcome the incredible Lloyd Griffith, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lloyd Griffith. Here he is. Lovely to see you. Come in, sit down. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's very good. It's good to be here. Look, it's nice, isn't it, in Nottingham?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see it, but they smell delectable.
They're very nice. Tell us about Songs of Praise. How are you? Why are you?
Which appearance?
I know you've been on many times.
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah. So the first one, I was a child.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the second and third time, I was, should we say, a teenager?
Yeah.
And then the 4th time, adult.
Okay.
And the 4th time being interviewed by Ala Jones.
Wow.
Off of the Snowman fame, which actually wasn't him, apparently.
It wasn't him in the actual.
No, it wasn't him in the
Snowman,
actual thing.
But then he did the record because the other guy's voice broke.
Yeah, and I will never slag him off because I've recently just got a job on Classic FM. Okay. So absolutely lovely bloke, and keep that in the podcast.
So the reason you're in Songs of Praise is because you're a chorister.
Chorister, yeah.
First and foremost, before anything else.
Yeah, before anything else, I was a choir boy in Grimsby, which again, not a sentence many people say. I was a choir boy in Grimsby in the late 80s, and I just loved it and just didn't want to do anything else other than be a choir boy, really.
Yeah.
Even when my voice broke, I was like, how do we carry it on? A lot of sellotape, apparently. Because your balls drop. Yeah. Okay, you got it. Fair enough.
They got it. Well, you know, and you were a choral singer then after being it. So that was your.
Yeah. So what? I wasn't really good at anything else other than being a bit of a dick and singing. And when my voice broke, I was like, right, I'm going to carry on being a singer. And again, in Grimsby, there was only really one choir that you could be a part of, and so I just kept on doing that. And I went to university, and like university's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's where you can basically have like a rebirth, a renaissance, where you can just be whoever you want to be. And I just carried on being this weird fucking choir boy. And so I went to the University of Exeter, which is, I think, the furthest university away from Grimsby, which was an absolute nightmare because I didn't drive. And I used to have to change in Sheffield and then go all the way down to Exeter. And then I remember, like, in Freshers Week, there's this really cool guy that looked like Johnny Bravo called Ken that came in. I'd never seen anyone called Ken before. And he came in with a pack of Miller under his arm and like a really lovely white T-shirt, stonewashed jeans and cowboy boots. And he was like, hi, I'm Ken, your drinking buddy for the next 3 years. I was like, oh, hi, how you doing? He's like, should we go to the pub? I was like, oh, I'd love to. I've got to go to church. And he's like, I'll see you later. I was like, oh, maybe I should have had a bit of a renaissance here. But I just carried on doing it. But I did also at the same time, you know, get drunk 8 times a week. I remember the Freshers Week on the Thursday, singing Evensong at Winchester Cathedral, doing the Psalms, and falling asleep, stood up while singing the Psalms. And I was like, I think I'm going to enjoy this life. And so I've just carried on doing it, and I got a degree in music, and I had sex when I was 26. Thank you. First time you properly left.
It's funny because it's true.
No.
I'm assuming. But so your favourite composer?
Yeah, go on.
Thomas Tallis?
Yeah, fucking hell, that's good research, isn't it?
I don't know. I know his name. I don't know any of his stuff.
You don't know what?
I don't know who Thomas Tallis is.
Shut up. Does anyone know who Thomas Tallis is? Do you actually, mate?
Yeah, sang as a child choir boy.
Well, you can do it as an adult as well, mate. All right.
Yeah.
It's not weird. Where did you sing? Round here?
Mansfield.
Which church?
St. Peter, St. Paul.
Big up St. Peter, St. Paul. Did you sing If You Love Me?
I genuinely, it's about 40 years ago, I can't remember.
Yeah. Do you want to come up here and be instead of him? This. Yeah.
But yeah, Thomas Tallis, again, all my friends growing up, they loved, to be fair, I loved, music of like Cooler Shaker and Oasis and the like. But also at the same time, I had quite a hefty CD collection of Thomas Tallis and William Byrd and Henry Purcell. And then people would come round and hastily have to change the CD player because they'd be like, what the fuck is he playing? And it's like, oh, it's Thomas Tallis, who is one of the greatest composers.
What one of his will I have heard?
I'm going to say probably none.
Okay.
But he was essentially the backbone of composing, which this bit isn't going to be funny.
It's the first time we've talked about Thomas Tallis in this podcast. I can guarantee that.
Get
in 12
in!
years.
Have you spoke about Songs of Praise before? Have any of your guests been on Songs of Praise?
It might have come up.
Oh,
I
okay,
can't
fair
guarantee that it hasn't come
But Thomas Tallis, he was around in, let's just say, the 1500s, because that's, I think, when it was. And he composed a piece for 40 voices, 40 voices. Didn't have electrics, didn't have a computer, just did it with candlelight and a pen.
Yeah.
That's it. No, but if you get your head around that, like, you try writing, like, an essay without, you know, a laptop or even a typewriter. He wrote a piece for 40 voices with no electricity. Why are you quiet? What? I don't get... Do you not get what I'm saying? Do you know what electricity is? Have you heard of light? I know it's dark in here, but he had no light.
Yeah.
He didn't even have a pen. He had a quill or the like. Yeah. But I'm obsessed with him, and him and William Byrd were the backbone of basically English music. And then people like Vaughan Williams, who I'm sure you've all heard of, and he's probably been mentioned in the podcast.
I've had him on.
What? I got really excited then. I got starstruck. I went to the National Portrait Gallery's reopened recently, and I went back there and I saw him. I was like, oh, God, I had a selfie with him because I'm a virgin. No, I'm not, 26. So Vaughan Williams wrote a piece called Fantasia on a Theme by Thomas Tallis. So he's absolutely been an influence, and, you know, he's the reason, you know, most music is what it sounds like today. But obviously, you know, there's been obviously different iterations and evolutions since then. This is back to my university days. I quite enjoy it.
It's very interesting. You know a fact, I've seen you talk about this on TV, but you know a fact about every cathedral in the country?
Yeah. So I'm obsessed with cathedrals, because Grimsby didn't have a cathedral, we had a church. And so I remember the first time I went to a cathedral, St Mary's Cathedral in Edinburgh, I lost my tiny mind. It was so big. Like, the biggest thing I'd ever been to was Meadowhall, which is actually like a cathedral. It was modelled on St Paul's, apparently. I'm not sure if my mate was having me at leg there. But so that was the biggest thing I'd ever been to, Meadowhall, which, you know, there's no restaurants in St Mary's Cathedral. It's just a God venue. But I was just mesmerised by it, and then I was like, Mum, what are these things? Are they called cathedrals? And then she bought me a Ladybird book of cathedrals. I then became obsessed with cathedrals. We then went and sang at more cathedrals around the country. And I'm just wondering, has anyone said the word cathedrals as many times as I have in a previous podcast? Cathedrals.
Not in the first 10 minutes.
Not in the first 10 minutes. Nish, last 20, yes, definitely. So then I just became obsessed with cathedrals, and then I was in the choir, we used to go and tour cathedrals. And I kind of didn't take it upon myself to learn a fact about every cathedral, but it's just something that happens. And now I've got this, it's like a superpower, where if you name any English Anglican cathedral, I can tell you a fact about it. Yes, because Nottingham only has a Catholic, and I don't touch Catholics, which is ironic, seeing as though they touch choir boys all the... Anyway, so a little bit of fun, isn't it? Well, it's not.
I can tell you a fact.
What I meant is the joke was a little bit of fun. How I've turned quite a somber. Anyway.
I can tell you a fact about Nottingham Cathedral.
Oh, go on.
It's named after St Barnabas.
Yes.
Would that count as a fact for you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I also as well, the phrase, you know, the word fact, I mean, I really kind of test that. Truro, most westerly. That shouldn't be a fact, but it is. And then some of them have got interesting stuff about them, like, oh, Sheffield's the lowest. Like, who's going to search that? Who's going to test me during a gig when I'm doing that bit of material? And it is material. But what I quite like, St Edmundsbury is a cathedral, and do you know where it is?
Bury St Edmunds.
There you go. Absolutely nailed it. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It is.
Where they basically, this cathedral was called St Edmundsbury, and it was just knocking about in essentially a wood. And then they were like, oh, what should we call this town/city? And they said, oh, let's call it Bury St Edmunds. And I urge you not to Google that, okay? Because I might have just made that up.
Well, good. I'm glad. Do you know a fact about Winchester? Is Winchester an Anglican cathedral?
Yeah, Winchester, yeah. Most are Anglican. Winchester's the longest of any cathedral. And Winchester and St Albans used to be in competition with each other to see who could be the longest, because it was like, oh, shit, they're the longest. Fuck! Knock the end down. Build it again. And so if you go to St Albans, you can see where, 2 or 3 times they've just extended it. You know what I mean? If your neighbour gets a conservatory, it's like, right, Jeanette's got a bigger conservatory. We're going to build another one. So Winchester is the longest cathedral. Also, it floods the most.
Okay.
Yeah. and it's got
the bone chests in it of all the kings of England.
I was just about to get to that.
Okay.
And it's got an Anthony Gormley sculpture in the crypt, which is where it floods the most, and a diver whose name I don't know. He basically saved a cathedral once by going underwater and pulling the plug.
I mean, I'd just say leave the plug out if it floods a lot. Don't have the plug in, just leave the plug out and then let the water go out.
Can we edit that out?
Yeah.
Yep.
Could do that. I was at St Albans Cathedral last weekend.
St Paul's Cathedral?
St Albans Cathedral.
Oh, St Albans, yeah.
And it's made largely out of the Roman walls from St Albans. They were taken down, and you can see, if you look at it, you can see it.
Yeah.
You've got me very interested in cathedrals.
I honestly love cathedrals. There's a bloke that has gone around, and he's in the Guinness Book of World Records because he's licked the most amount of cathedrals. Have you seen that? I thought I was weird. I was like, he's licking them, so I'm going to have sex with them all.
Yeah. How much does he have to? Does he just have to lick a bit, or does he have to lick the whole?
Oh no, I think yeah. I'm enjoying myself. Yeah, I just got excited about that. I read an article, and I think it is just he has to go there, lick a part of the cathedral exterior for like 5 seconds, and then he could just crack on with his day. And I just thought, what? Like, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. I think there's about 7 cathedrals that I haven't visited in England.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm thinking about doing a cathedral tour on my next one of my comedy tours. I want to do a stadium tour, but just the function rooms. That's the plan, because I just think it'd be quite a good idea, wouldn't it? The stadium tour, massive asterisks. You know, the buffet rooms. Yeah. And then I want to do a cathedral tour, but they're really big, aren't they? And I just don't have the popularity for that yet.
Well, but you know so much about cathedrals, you might bring in a different audience.
Yeah, I know, but the audience that I will be bringing in, that'll be, no offence, God Squad, and I'm telling
people
stories.
Who lick cathedrals.
They are welcome.
Yeah,
they'll be in the VIP bit. Do you know what I mean? The lounge. But I'll just be telling stories about I had sex with someone from Beeston, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't think this is what we signed up for," and there'll be refunds, and no one will enjoy it, and at least I'll be forgiven though from the big guy.
Yeah, that's nice.